Hi, I'm Zachary Farnell. Thank you for joining me for another edition of your Timberlane Weather Update. It's the first time back since the start of school we've had an update, and it's finally beginning to warm up into what we were expecting to see over much of August. Much of August, we saw temperatures well below average across much of the country, not just here in the Northeast, but that led many to believe that this time of the year would be a lot cooler than it is. We've seen a significant warm up over the last couple of days. We expect to see continued 80s into next week. You can see yesterday the highs reaching into those 80s. Along the coast, maybe closer to the upper 70s, but really we're seeing the warmth coming from the central part of the country. It's been slowly pushing east, and this is just the beginning of it. So looking across the plains, you can see much of these temperatures in towards the Dakotas, down towards Texas, and it's always hot in Arizona, even into September, but these areas reaching into the upper 80s, even some 90s. So last night, it's not a surprise. They didn't get much of a break, especially this one spot up in South Dakota. Mother Nature taking out her wrath on that area with the lows just dipping into the 70s all the way into September now. And again, the heat continuing to spread across the U.S. through today. Much of the 80s across the central part of the country, continuing again to spread east. We see more of those mid to upper 80s spreading across Ohio, Michigan, moving towards our area. The peak of that heat will reach us this weekend. Now, we did see a little bit of a break in the heat across the south because of this system right here. We're seeing hurricane moving across the Gulf Coast, and ultimately it's reached New Orleans yesterday and now spinning across parts of Louisiana. This hurricane expected to continue kind of sitting across this area. Not a whole lot of movement expected, and that's why on our fronts forecast for Friday, you could see tomorrow this system continuing to sit across the south part of the country, moving some showers, some rain, and some general cloudiness in towards the southeastern part of the country. For us in the Northeast, it's a bit of a high pressure system. Don't expect total sunshine, but generally it'll be pretty clear across much of tomorrow and in towards Saturday. You can see now that high pushes a little bit north. A couple showers in towards Maine associated with that cold front, not out of the question, but we see the hurricane across the Gulf slowly dying off into a much weaker low pressure system. General showers and again continued cloudiness with some brief thunderstorms down in towards Florida expected to continue towards Saturday, and now into Sunday we can see these thunder showers continuing even after the hurricane dissipates completely. For us, thank goodness we're seeing this high pressure system move in. It's going to continue to bring us some warmth through the weekend, and that's why on the 5-day forecast you can see this heat really building in over early next week. Again, 84 tomorrow, but dropping into the low to mid 80s towards the weekend. The real heat and warm up continues Monday into Tuesday. On the extended forecast, we can see it does slowly begin to cool off and a couple showers move in as that big time high pressure system we saw earlier begins to slowly slip away. Next Saturday is when I think personally it's going to feel the most like fall. Those highs reaching only into the low 70s. That's a lot of what we saw earlier last week, so expecting to see a return of that pattern in the future. Well, thank you very much for joining me once again, back from summer vacation. It's important that we keep our eyes on the tropics. Although this hurricane season really hasn't been as active as expected, the warm temperatures across much of the Atlantic Ocean, is going to continue to build and fuel a massive threat of storms even through September and into October. So I thank you for tuning in to your Timberlane Weather Update. I'm Zachary Farnell, signing off.